at 66 years old, it's an amazing, for some moment, for some reason, I felt lighter. I felt energized. I felt like this rebirth, where like electricity coming through my body.
Yeah.
Now, you know me, I'm a pretty pumped up dude every day of the week anyway.
Yeah.
This is a different level, brother. This is a different level. And I'm not preaching. I'm not, I'm living this.
Jake Steinfeld, welcome back to the American Glutton Podcast.
It is always great to see you. And under different circumstances, I would be even more exuberant, but we will work on that during this little conversation, man. But before I get started, I got to just say, man, how proud I am of you. Since the first time we had our encounter was over the pandemic, man, and you were beginning your journey into what has become this beast of a guy, man. I mean, seriously, I'm so proud of you. You know, this is the world that I live in, have lived in for my whole life. I was, I was an overweight kid with a bad stutter, man, and I have a new chapter to talk about, which we will in a second. But
yeah, man, and let me say this about you, Jake. Like, you were one of my heroes. You were the guy. As a kid, I can remember seeing, Richard Simmons and Jazzercise and Jane Fonda. But then when there was some sense of masculinity, some sense of like of lifting weights and being, just when like that, none of that interested me. But then there was you, and it was like, no, we can be dudes and we can be powerful, and exercise is fun. Okay, and then cut to today, you're building gyms in different states. Like, you've become, you're one of the people. I'm not a political guy. I really am not a political guy. But when I think about things like Make America Healthy Again, I'm on board. Like, I want America to be healthy again, but I don't see policy that's driving that. Like, getting rid of red dye number 3. Okay, great. But if that's the extent that we're going to go to make America healthy, I don't think we get anywhere. However, then comes along you, and you're like, no, I'm going to come into this state and build a ton of gyms for kids. And I go like, yeah, that's the route. That's the path. And so, like, I admire you so much. And I just want to say, like, you've been clobbered by the fires in California. And then we talked, and you still had all the infectious enthusiasm towards life that you've always had. And I was like staggered by it. So wow. I'm so sorry, and thank you.
Well, listen, first of all, I appreciate the kind words. You know how much I appreciate you. And yeah, listen, if I could tell this little story, I will tell you that a Sunday ago, when I make my lists, because I'm a list guy, I'm a regimented dude. I'm a routine guy, and everything I do, it's A to B to C to D. It's just how I get through my day.
Yeah.
Was upended Tuesday night of last week. Oh my God! It's the only way I know what day it is to see what body parts I work in the morning, and
right.
And I will talk about how you get back into a routine, but. We lost everything. Our house burned. We lost everything. This is not a pity party for me. We're very blessed. I've done great in my life. What we have lost, though, you can't get back. And those are the memories. I mean, you have kids. My wife, Tracy, and I have been married for 36 years. We've been in this house in the Palisades for 30 years. Our 4 kids have grown up in this house. My daughter was born in Norfolk, Virginia, when I was doing it. Sitcom on the Family Channel, but my 3 boys were born in the house, and
wow.
The memories, the mementos. Look, I'm one of those crazy dads who collected every little handprint, every little drawing, every little face, every little "thank you, Daddy" kind of note. That's gone, man. The Olympic torches and first pitch baseballs and all those things. you know what, man, I got a picture of it. That's fine. But you know, it was really interesting. And look, I'm not a heavy religious dude, man, but I'm going to tell you something. And I know you have thousands upon thousands of people that listen to you, that watch you, that stand by your side, and we all go through. Everybody's got something. Like my grandmother would say, everybody's got their mishigas. Everybody's got something they have to deal with, and this is something that was put upon us. And listen, either you roll up in a corner and die, or you shake it off. And it took a minute. I'm not gonna kid you, E. I mean, that first night, thankfully, my daughter Morgan flew in from London. She lives in London. My wife's birthday was last Friday, to surprise Tracy for her birthday. And well, what a surprise! And she immediately found a hotel. We're here in Santa Monica. We're homeless.
Oh my God.
I mean, we're homeless, man, and we truly lost everything. No clothes. What I'm wearing right now, I got 2 shirts, a pair of pants. We're getting some things together. I got a workout shirt and shorts, and I'm going to tell you something, brother. It's an amazing feeling if you can visualize, and everybody who's listening to me and us right now, just visualize for a second. If you're driving in a car, don't close your eyes, but having nothing. And I mean, I don't mean saying, gosh, honey, I don't have anything to wear tonight to dinner. We need to get something. I'm talking about zero. When was the last time you really had nothing? And I don't think it ever happened, because when you're born, they slap a diaper on you, a little shirt. And I will say this to you, at 66 years old, it's an amazing, for some moment, for some reason, I felt lighter. I felt energized. I felt like this rebirth, where like electricity coming through my body.
Yeah.
Now, you know me, I'm a pretty pumped up dude every day of the week anyway.
Yeah.
This is a different level, brother. This is a different level. And I'm not preaching. I'm not, I'm living this. I'm not one of these dudes on the sideline saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I can only imagine." And it's nice that people believe me. The kind words from everybody has been great, but going through it and feeling what we feel. And, we've been conversing, myself and my wife and our kids. We have these FaceTimes. My kids live in New York. My daughter is back in New Zealand now, heading back to London. And we talk, of just the things that we lost. And the kids have different feelings. And mentally, what I've come to understand, and this happened just at Banana Republic the other day, going to try to get a shirt, man. We went to Century City, and unbeknownst to me, I come out of the dressing room. Tracy put a sweater on me, and another guy comes out and said, "Hey, I know you live in the Palisades. I lost my house too." 4 other guys come out of dressing rooms saying, "I lost my house too." Dude that runs The Simpsons, this guy Matt, his name is. Another guy, I didn't recognize these guys. Didn't know the fellas. Our wives are sitting on the couch, and we're all like in a minion talking, and these guys are all saying, "Jake, you got any words of wisdom, man? Anything, any encouragement you can give us, a hope?" And people normally are desperate for hope on a daily basis. And my words were simple, man. It's get back to the routine. Try to get back to your routine. And you talk a lot about mental health, and we know about physical health. We know what you've been able to accomplish, and it's a challenge every day. But you got to, when times of tumult and trouble, get back to a routine. First thing I did, now I will say, I was despondent Tuesday night. Yeah, I'm not going to kid you. I sat. I could turn this thing around and show you. We're in a nice hotel, but we have a view of the Palisades as it was burning.
Oh man.
And I'm not kidding you, man. Like at around 3:45 in the morning, and usually I call. Everyone's mad at me. Everyone gets mad at me because I can go to bed. I get 3.5 hours sleep a night. I go to bed, say goodnight, give my wife a kiss. I call it a coffin sleep. I don't get up. Bang, 3.5 hours. I'm up. I'm in the gym, and I'm on my routine. I couldn't sleep. And I fell asleep for about 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I wake up, and 3:45, I get up. And I had this sense, and you know, we had a dog a long time ago named Roku the dog, and passed away. We were all traumatized by it, so we never got another pet. My kids are grown, so it's me and Tracy and my daughter here in the hotel. And for some reason, man, I got up and I felt like my house needed me. I don't. It's a strange feeling, man. I'm kind of this is all real time, man.
No,
This is not a
yeah.
story I've concocted. And like my house needed me, and I needed to be there. But I'm looking out, and I see the flames, man, from this hotel room, and I knew at that instant I lost my home.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, and we were able to get up the next morning through some friends in the LAPD, got me up there, and the house was gone, and it was, you can't imagine, you just can't, I can't put the words together. My daughter came up with me, and we pulled up, and the houses around me are standing.
Oh God.
My house, we drive up, and there was a basketball court in the front yard that was there when we bought the house 30 years ago. I never took it down because that's the kind of guy I am, man. And it was melted. And I knew, and my daughter put a hand on my shoulder and said, Daddy, it's going to be okay. And I popped out of the car, looked at it, and was stunned, man.
Yeah.
And called my wife, and, obviously she started crying, and it was an incredible moment. But, you stand up, you get knocked down, you got to stand back up. That's what you do. You got to persevere. There's a poem. You know the poem I recited to you, and I'll give you another little anecdote, man. I'm putting a few things. I got some stuff from the safe, and we got our paperwork and all those things like that, passports and important paperwork. On my desk, I have this poem called Don't Quit.
Yeah.
That was given to me. I told you this a few years back when I was cut from my 8th grade basketball team. And that poem on a permaplaque, right, sat on a desk, every desk that I ever had since I'm 14. I'm 66, so you can do the math. And I picked the poem up, and I was actually putting it in my duffel bag. And I said, you know what? If I take this with me, I'm not coming back here. And I put it back down, and it's gone.
Yeah.
It's never gone. It's in my head. And just for you and everyone who listens, man, I'm going to recite this. I'm going to recite this not just for everybody today, but for myself, because it's my Bible verse. It's my mantra. And, I trademarked the words "Don't Quit" in 1981. And the poem goes, when things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you're trudging seems all uphill, when the funds are low and the debts are high, and you want to smile, but you have to sigh. When care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but don't you quit. Life is queer with its twists and turns, as every one of us sometimes learn. And many a failure turn about when he might have won had he stuck it out. Don't give up though the pace seems slow. You may succeed with another blow. Success is failure turned inside out, the silver tint of the clouds of doubt. And you never can tell how close you are. It may be near when it seems so far. So stick to the fight. When your hardest hit is when things seem worst, that you must not quit. Don't quit.
It's beautiful, Jake. I can't tell you what getting back to your routine means to me. And I haven't gone through anything like what you're talking about. This idea, like the closest I come to having nothing is like when I'm traveling and I decide I can only bring a carry-on and can't check luggage. You know what I mean? That's like, and even still, I know that there are 2 locations in the world for me that have all my stuff that I can go feel safe and secure at. And so just having your foundation rocked like that. But I also know that when tough things have happened to me, getting my meal prep, getting to the gym, these kind of foundational things are the only thing that set
You know
me
why?
back.
It's just kind of regular. It's like, getting back to it, losing your home, and truly being homeless. I mean, we're gonna move into a apartment, man, in Century City. I'm
Like
calling
teenagers.
I'm calling it like an adult dorm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, man? And it's look, it's gonna be a pretty building, but I'm a guy. I got my beautiful home. I worked my ass off for that. We'll do it again,
Sure.
but it's like anything else, man. You're gonna try to shoot me. You're gonna try to burn me, man. You're only gonna make me stronger, and that's what's really happened. And I just want to go to what you were talking about when it comes to politics, because I kind of didn't do any press on this thing. I didn't, once people found out my house burned down, as you can imagine, everybody calls and says, "Hey, would you like to talk about it?" I said, "No." I did do Fox and Friends only because, Brian Kilmeade has been a friend. I don't know if you know the story, but I got Brian, I helped him get his gig on Fox and Friends 100. He was my sideline guy when I founded Major League Lacrosse back in '99. And I was one of the early guests on Fox and Friends when I'd go on that show and I do the weather, and we'd had a ball, and they've always been very terrific to me. And so I sat with Brian, who's become an incredible a incredible human, but what he does is just dynamite. And I made a plea directly to the new president, man. I just said, listen, I'm not about red or blue. I'm about the red, white, and blue.
Yeah.
And, I'm enthusiastic about a new administration because, listen, the sun comes up, and it did come up this morning. And if we want to show real leadership, Mr. President, forget this governor here in California, forget the mayor here in California. I'll meet you like two fellas. Let's take a walk in my neighborhood, inspire some people, talk to some people who are desperate for leadership and hope. Let's tell them things are going to be all right, because listen, there's been tragedy and catastrophic shit before this situation in the Palisades, and it's going to happen again, unfortunately. What we need to do is make sure that it never happens this way again, where, quote unquote, running out of water. I'm staring at the Pacific Ocean.
Well, that was my thought too. When people started talking about we're out of water, I'm like, the Pacific Ocean is the largest body of water on the planet, and it's a stone's throw. I know I could throw a rock from your house.
I mean, if you'd like, I turn the camera around for you, man. But I don't want you to get any different feeling like, oh, poor Jake, But it's the ocean's right here, and when you hear about, because I spoke to the firefighters, the first responders, who are incredible people. They're understaffed. They're underpaid. We don't have enough of them. And this has been decades in the making. This is not just this administration. Yeah. This has been decades in the making. Things have to change. I love LA. I know you do too, man. I know you moved, man, but I love LA. I love California. I've been here since I'm 18 years old. It's the sixth largest economy in the world. Yeah. With the highest taxed state. I don't want to get into politics with it, but you know what? Change needs to happen. And as Brian Kilmeade said, are you talking about running for governor? I made like a comment like, I'd think about it. Can I tell you this, E? In the last 30 hours, it has been insane. People around the country have DM'd me, an official body by Jake, saying, I'd like to host a fundraiser in North Carolina, South Carolina, New York, Florida, Dallas, Houston, Austin, Colorado, San Francisco, LA. This group of ex-Goldman guys want to put together an exploratory committee about,
let me say something. I was born in New York, moved to LA when I was 1 year old when my parents moved me out. So I don't remember New York as a little kid. We went back and stuff, but I lived in Los Angeles. I was raised in Los Angeles. I love Los Angeles. 2016, I go and do a TV show in San Francisco. And over the course of 7 months shooting this TV show in San Francisco. We had 6 dead bodies at base camp. And when I say that, I don't mean like we could see the dead body blocks away. I mean, in between the trailers were dead bodies, meaning they shut down base camp. There were dead bodies on just there. And me and the other guy in the show, by the time we were done, we said, listen, San Francisco is such a mess. We will not come back here, because it was scary. It was like, listen, I travel a lot. I went to Northern Africa with a buddy, and we had security, and the security said, you can't walk over there. And I was like, I'm not listening to you. I'm not scared. I'll walk over there. And I walked around and felt fine. I never felt in danger anywhere. The Middle East, I traveled all over the Middle East extensively, South America, Mexico. I've never felt a danger. I felt scared in San Francisco. San Francisco was scary. There's needles everywhere, human feces in the street, and dead bodies, people dropping dead left and right. And some of it was drug overdose. Some of it was people getting stabbed.
Right.
So we can't do this. This is too crazy. I can't have my kids come and visit me in San Francisco, which when I was a kid was one of the most beautiful cities on the planet.
Yeah.
So we forced the production to move to Los Angeles, and they spend a ton of money painting in the San Francisco skyline. And we go, that's fine, because we're fine. We're in San Francisco. And what happened in San Francisco can never happen in Los Angeles. They'll just never let it. And by 2020 or 2021, Los Angeles looked a lot like San Francisco did.
Yeah, it's look, you know what? We can't delve or dwell in the past. And look, and my situation now, I'm looking at, hey, here's a crazy thing, E, and but it's human nature, which is kind of a good thing too. I'm looking outside today. The sun is up. People are going about there every day. The Israeli-Hamas ceasefire, terrific, right? You know what that does? The Palisades fire is now off the front page. And it's now on the second or third page, like, Katrina was, and the Woolsey fire, and think of all these devastating, what's happening in Ukraine, and all these things all that still goes on, right?
Yeah.
We're still homeless amongst 130,000 displaced residents. I read a lot of things too. People have told me, reading a bunch of stuff about how people are, knocking the Palisades. Celebrities lost their mansions, big deal. Listen, there's a lot of people who are not celebrities who live, the good folks who live in the Palisades. I was the honorary mayor. They always had honorary mayors from 2016. I served 2 terms. I was selected, not elected, as I say. And there are some really great people who live in the Palisades who lost everything, whose home was passed on from a generation ago or 2 ago.
No, I know good friends of ours lost their home, and these are not wealthy people by any metric.
By any means. So, listen, social media is awesome. Social media is shit. You got to just take the good with the bad. And as you know, in the business that we're in, if, you can't take, it's like a great friend of mine, Harrison Ford has been a great friend. I've known him. I trained him for Raiders and Temple of Doom and Witness, and we've been friends since my goodness, 1981. And I remember back a long time ago, I did a short-lived sitcom, and I got a terrible review in the Hollywood Reporter, and it was something like, and Jake Steinfeld as the gym dumbbell, and I'll never forget it, man. And I was looking around. I used to go to Nate and Al's for breakfast, man. And I was so pumped up because it was a pilot. And you know how they do it. They screen it for the press. And the people from the press come up to me afterwards. Oh, you are so hysterical. You're so funny. I'm like, oh, yeah, baby. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Open up the trades the next morning. And I read that bit.
They cut your legs off.
They ripped the show up. And every client that I went to, because, I was training people, man. I was the first guy to do personal fitness training and made it an occupation. that was right in the heart of when I was training people, and I was training all these big time folks. And I never forget going to Harrison's house, and I said, I said, yeah, buddy of mine got a really crappy review, man. Do you ever read reviews? He says, well, Jake, I'll tell you what, you tell your buddy, if he believes the good ones, then you can better believe the bad ones too.
Yeah.
And it really kind of resonated with me. It's like, you got to be good with you,
Right.
and whatever it is. So whether it's your work, your training, dealing with a catastrophe, dealing with everything that comes at you on a daily basis. And look, as we move forward here, and just to keep the conversation going, you mentioned something about health and kids and stuff. I'm a big believer in, look, I love talking. I love having a conversation, but you got to do. And I saw something that I saw an opportunity that when I served as chair of the Fitness Council, when Arnold was governor, he appointed me chair of the Fitness Council in California, incredible honor in 2006. And I did a little bit with Jerry Brown, and then went on to be the chair of the National Foundation for Governors Fitness Councils. And I created a single mission to put as many $100,000 Don't Quit Fitness centers in elementary and middle schools across this great country of ours.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to report that this past October, I achieved the goal of getting all 50 states.
It's insane. This is insane.
I sent you the video. I hope you can post a little bit of it. It would be great. I stood next to 48 of 50 governors, but I did all 50 states. We culminated in Hawaii, Alaska, Nevada, and my home state of New York. And it is such a thrilling and amazing feeling when you give the schools the tools, because it's amazing to see what happens. It's this upward spiral of success-y, where if you think about it, when you're exercising, and I talk to the kids about this, when you're exercising, you're healthy. And so if you're healthy, you're not homesick. If you're not homesick, you're in school. If you're in school, you're exercising, you're less fidgety. If you're less fidgety, you're more focused. If you're more focused, you do better on your tests. You do better on your tests, your teachers are proud of you. Your parents are proud of you. You can look in the mirror and be proud of who you are. Now, I'm talking to middle school kids, right?
Yeah.
Elementary, like, talk about confidence and self-esteem. These kids understand mental health. They understand because it's something we're talking about every day. So
Right.
You think about it. If you're mad, if you're sad, if you're angry, if you're stressed, move your body.
Well, I mean, I've found this to be true for me, is that the best I ever feel in life is after a workout. It is my dopamine, it's my serotonin, it's my meditation.
But you've done it, man. You are a living example. And look, I said, I hit you every now and again, man. I follow 42 people, man, in my whole life, and that comes up, and you're one of those guys, because you're living it, and you're an incredible inspiration. And what I'm so proud of you. And by the way, listen, there are new drugs out there today you can hit yourself with, and I think it's dynamite. But you have to remember something. This is not going to make you muscular. This is not going to put you in shape. It's going to give you that fast forward move of getting weight off your body, which is incredibly great. And God willing, it's healthy and it's going to be fine for a long time to come. But now it's time you got to get in gear.
Yeah.
Right? Because you don't want to be a smaller, flabbier you. You want to get in shape. And that's where weight training comes in and good nutrition comes in. Because at some point, you want to stop hitting yourself with that little pin.
Well, it's also no different mechanically from any of the crash diets that you and I have seen hit Hollywood.
I'm trying to be gentle.
No, yes. Listen, I'm not knocking it either. I have a wife, and she has a whole group of friends, and they do these crash diets. And so
by the way, and I'm sure people must say, "Oh, Ethan's definitely, I'm sure he's doing that thing. There's no way he could have lost that weight without that bang, bang, bang." But I know you.
The only reason I could say, the only evidence I have is like, this goes back to 2019, and these things didn't really exist then. I didn't know about them until like a year ago.
That's it. That's it. But it's just so, but back to the kids, to me, when you give the schools the tools, it's amazing to see what happens.
Yeah.
And to have that ability to do that and to see the stories that come out of not just building bodies, but building confidence and self-esteem and relationships that get built. I challenge the teachers to get into the fitness center with the kids. Because, look, man, I was never a student. I was never a good student, right? Never a good student. I admit it. It just wasn't my deal. I went to 3 months of college, upstate New York. You know Cornell University?
Sure.
Sure. I went to Cortland down the street. And and where it's upstate New York, where it's not too conducive to walk around in your gold lame posing trunks and 18 inches of snow. I was all pumped up to come to LA to become Mr. America. And I left upstate New York after 3 months and retired from college and came here to pursue bodybuilding. But the thing is, what I challenge people with is get in that fitness. When you're in a gym, and you know this now, E, when you're in a gym, it's a different world. There's no politics. There's no, hey, man, do me a favor. Could you give me a spot? Hey, okay, buddy, what's your name? E, I'm Jake. Nice to meet you. You want to do some biceps together? That's how, at least that's how it was. I haven't been in a gym in a long time, but I know what a gym should feel like and be like. Yeah. And when I challenge teachers to get in with the kids, the stories that have come out, I'll give you one in particular because it makes me smile and I don't have to think about I'm a homeless guy now. But there was a teacher, I think it was in North Dakota, all right, who took my challenge, and he wrote an email through the foundation and said, Jake, I took your challenge. I heard your speech, really, very positive words. I'm a runner, and I got on one of the treadmills in the morning. By the way, I teach science, and yeah, I'm a nerd. And I'm on the treadmill, and 3 of my students come up to me and said, Mr. Smith, you're like Superman. What are you doing? And we started talking. And I created a relationship with these 3 boys who never would have had a relationship with me and weren't the best students. And you know what, Jake? From that moment, these 3 kids have not missed one of my classes.
Wow.
And now I put a running club together, and these 3 kids have rounded up a bunch of other boys and girls to come run with us and work out in the fitness center together. I just want to thank you for the gift and thank you for the words. I mean, that's E. I'm sitting here talking to you now, right? In this insane moment of my life. And we have hundreds of fitness centers, Don't Quit fitness centers that are active since 2012, right? Tens of thousands of kids have gone through these fitness centers, and who knows what the stories are going to be like. I challenge this. This is what I do, and I'll end with you on this, brother. So I got to pop at the end of my little speech that I do in the auditorium. I look out at everybody and I go, one day, maybe 15 years from now, 20 years from, maybe 25 years from now, someone in this audience, and it's like dead silence, right? Will be standing right here. And they're going to make a speech about this moment, because I talk a lot about life is about moments. Some moments are great. Some moments are crummy. I'm living in a crummy one right now. But there are a lot of great moments too. And you're going to be standing in front of a group of kids just like this, and you're going to tell the story about what has happened here this morning and about how that inspired you to give back to this community. Who's it going to be? And when you leave this room, I want you to do one other thing. I want you to try to be nice to someone that you haven't been nice to. If someone's getting bullied, help them out. Open the door for somebody. Shake a hand. And then kids, I go, no, don't start right now. Don't start right, don't start right now. But it's that kind of a thing. And then we all recite, stick to the fight when your heart is hit. It's when things seem worse that you must not quit. Don't quit on you. Don't quit on your friends. Don't quit on your school. Don't quit on your family. Don't quit on your state. And don't quit on this great country of ours.
Jake, I cannot tell you how much I want you to be in politics. I don't like politics, but I look at you and I know you're the genuine article, and I know you're doing this just because you believe in positive momentum in a direction. And even on a day that you're homeless, this is still your number one, the thing you're thinking about, because that's your structure. Your structure has been about changing lives and helping people. And even when you talked about your sales pitch to the kid, how you created a narrative for him that gave him a better life through exercise. It's not being forced on him for a grade or in PE or his parents demanding it. You gave him a story that he could link to and see a better life for himself. And that's what we need. That's what I need in my life. That's what I want. And I think it's beautiful. And I think I started this very worried about you, and now I'm not worried about you at all.
Well, E, listen, man, I thank you for the kind words. I love what you do every day. You keep doing what you're doing, and we always stay in touch. And if I decide to make the move in this political side, I'm going to reach out to you.
I'll come campaign with you. I'll do leaflets to the doors. I'm in 100%. And I am not a political guy, but I will root.
And by the way, and neither am I.
I know.
You know what? We are a red, white, and blue guys, and I know your listeners are the same exact way as we are. And that's, if I do make that decision, that's what I'm going to try to do: surround myself with the right people. Because look, as an entrepreneur, listen. I know what I know. And I learned over the course of my career, if you think you know everything, you end up becoming a legend in your own shower. And that's not what we want to be, brother. So on that note, I will bid you a great afternoon, and I'm proud of you, and keep me posted. And I'm an official body by Jake. So, I'm not a big social media guy, but if there's an announcement, I promise you'll be one of the first.
I love it. Jake, thank you so much. I love you.
All right, brother. Peace. Don't quit.